There, if you are checking in on a replay and you are not seeing me live, I want to thank you for joining on the replay. I know it always takes a little while for you guys to join me live as I've just started, but I always like to greet everyone right away and say thank you for taking some time with God and Gigs. We're going live here on Facebook, on Twitter, which is new, and on YouTube. And my name is Alan C. Paul. I'm the founder and host of God and Gigs, and we're here to help you build a better creative life from the inside out by applying timeless spiritual principles to temporary creative problems that you might be facing. And I felt like going live tonight. We have not done a creative connection community call. We call them creative checkups in a while live, either in our creative community, on Facebook, anywhere really. And I said, you know what? It's about time that I at least show my face. You can see I got my nice little backdrop here, my logo, and I'm rocking my 25th anniversary of Melton Mustafa Jazz Festival. So if you are in the building, if you're checking out with us, come on in. Nikki Rochelle, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. This is, again, impromptu. I did not plan this in advance. Usually I have like a calendar where we go every Friday. But like I said, we haven't been doing it recently, and now I decided to do it. So I want to always make sure I jump right in and actually give you some content, give you some things that you should actually be watching for instead of waiting and watching me talk and wish that people were following and jumping in on live. Although I would encourage you to go ahead and share this with your friends, share this with anyone else that's outside of our community, but maybe would like to learn about our community. We are a community of faith-focused freelancers, musicians, creatives, artists who want to really connect the dots between our spiritual lives as a Christian foundation and our practical creative lives in the mainstream arts and entertainment space. So that's what we do. That's what we talk about. And this is our creative checkup, as I said, just to kind of like hear what's going on in your creative life, to tell me what's going on with you. And then we can kind of share and give some ideas. And I can tell you what's going on in my creative life and in our creative life in general. You can see here I'm kind of floating in midair with this whole God and Gigs backdrop here. So I kind of feel like I got this kind of otherworldly thing going on. I'm going to try to ignore that. I'm not going to worry much about that. Let's see. We have somebody from London. Very cool. Good. God bless you, Alan C. Paul, and happy Sunday, London. Oh, no, London from Newark. I saw London and I thought you were from London. That's hilarious. Hello, London. Yes, go ahead and check out the replay if you can't stay live with us today, okay? So like I said, I'm going to jump right into some discussions, make sure that I actually address some things that actually can help you right away. Now, this first thing I'm going to talk about actually comes from a question inside our God and Gigs 360 community. And I'm going to talk more about 360 later, but she gave a really insightful question. And I want to ask this to you guys as well. And this is kind of like a mindset spiritual question. And her question was, when we try to dig into our issues, things that we're trying to get delivered from, things we want, things that have pained us, hurt us in the past, is it possible that when we actually like pray to get rid of those things, that we're praying away what she called our muses? Are we praying away our inspiration? Are we trying to get rid of things that actually would bless us and help us to express what pain and what loss and what sorrow does to our lives, so that we can show redemptive things, how God uses those things? And do we sometimes try to get rid of them before we use them artistically? And I was like, whoa, that was a big, 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 big question. So I wanted to address it here in this creative checkup, because I think there's a lot going on in the world. And there's a lot of questions about how should artists respond. There's a lot going on within us, and there's a lot going on around us. So my question to you, even as we discuss this, is what do you feel is your balance between having pain and issues and loss and stuff in your life that you express through your creative life, through your songs and your music or your dance or your ministry, and the stuff that maybe you don't want to deal with, that you want to get rid of, and you'd rather not even talk about it because you'd rather get delivered from it than talk about it? Or maybe there's a third option. Maybe we get delivered and get free from things through our creative life. And that is actually how God uses us to get healing from things because we actually really work on those things on the inside. Now, you can see I started deep, but I just jumped right in because that was a question I was actually asked again in our 360 membership. I'm going to address it there, but I would love to get some feedback from you guys as well on what you feel. And now what I want to tell you is, just in terms of how pain and how things that you don't want to deal with work inside my creative life, and maybe it's the same for you. So what I would say is we are not supposed to trauma worship. In other words, I don't think every single thing in our life has to be traumatic for us to learn about it or to sing about it or to create from it. I don't think we should have to go through horrible things to be able to talk about and sing about and create things that help us deal with horrible things. You don't have to go through drug addiction necessarily to sing or play or try to help someone that has a drug addiction, even though you could probably be the most effective if you did. But I don't think everyone that has to minister to a certain pain has to go through horrible things. So, in other words, we shouldn't search out or look for bad in our lives simply so that we can sing or write or create from it. And the same way, I think there's a balance where you cannot create from a place that you don't necessarily understand. So there's some level of understanding that you cannot really talk about the things you haven't experienced. But I don't want to see our community simply say, well, I got to go through some hard stuff. I got to have trauma in my life. You will have trauma. The Bible says in this world we will have struggles. So we don't have to look for struggles. Struggles will find us. The question is, how will we use them and how will we kind of redeem them in our art and our creativity? I was reading a book, actually just finished it on the plane when I was coming back from my performance this weekend. I was over in Mexico for a gig. And the book is called He Saw That It Was Good by Sho Baraka. And he makes it very clear in this book. You should check it out. It's very, 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 very like powerful reading about African American culture and Christianity and the intersection of those two things. But what he's talked about, honestly, was how we have to be honest in our art. And I think one key thing about this, and by the way, if you're watching this now, if you're on replay, let me know what you think. Is it possible to balance the pain with your art and express it without necessarily becoming a slave to it, becoming so mired in it that you don't have any like way out? And then the opposite, is there a problem with ignoring it and maybe you're praying away something that you're supposed to use and try to kind of use it in your art? So long story short, Sho Baraka said there's got to be some honesty in there. There's got to be some honesty in our conversations where we can't like edit out everything that doesn't feel right. So there's got to be some confidence of saying, okay, yes, I'm going through this, but I'm going to use my art to express it. It's going to bring some healing to me, and it's going to allow me to kind of process, but also allow other people in so they can process with me. Precious, hello. Good to see you, Precious. I'm so glad. See, I like doing these creative checkups where I can actually interact with you guys. I know I can't hear you. That happens on Zoom calls, obviously, but I can see your comments. And so, yeah, let me show that real quick. So, Precious, yeah, thank you for jumping in. Yes, we have to be honest with our art. There is a very, it's a very, very tempting thing, right? To kind of only be as honest as we need to be. Not to share too much, right? Not to give away. I think there's a new song by PJ Morton that came out, and he said on an interview I heard on Sirius XM that he was way more vulnerable than even people realize, because he can write love songs. He can write songs about trying to get back to it, somebody. But he said this one was actually deeply personal. It actually happened, like it was something that was fresh, and he wrote about it, and it was a song. So in a way, I guess he hopes it becomes a hit, but it's also like way more than that. So I think to answer that question, again, I'm kind of giving a piggyback answer to someone I'm going to address in 360. That's where you can't pray away your muse, right? You can't pray away the thing that God's going to use to kind of bring some healing and bring some expression to it. You got to find where that balance is, where you don't get stuck in it in your art, but you also have to you have to sing about it. And the Bible talks about that. How can we sing when we are in a strange land, right? Exiles singing, spirituals, slaves expressing power and hope in the middle of utter depravity. So there's got to be some ability us to wrestle with that. And if I think that we feel that we have to get away from it and we have to like delete it or edit it, or we can't talk about certain hard things, we're literally taking like the heart out of our art. We're taking out like the power of the Holy Spirit to really guide us and show the world through art how he can redeem those things, how tough things can become triumphs, right? Tough becomes a triumph. Your tragedies can become triumphs, but only when we're honest with our art. So thanks for sharing that, Precious. So glad you're able to join us. Okay, so let me do some quick church announcements here because there's some cool things that are happening, and then we're going to jump back and forth. And if you guys have any questions or comments or success stories, things that are happening in your life, what's going on in your life? Let me bend this down a little bit so I can kind of see you guys straight up. What's going on in your life that you can tell me? There we go. It's a little better. Tell me what's going on in your life, what's going on in your creative life. What's some success stories, some things that are like awesome, some things that you created. Let's call this Success Sunday. I was using that for a couple of other things. I love if you get home from church and you get home from your events and you could just say, hey, this was a success this week. This was a success that I saw God do something in my creative life, something I can celebrate. Okay. Or maybe celebrate Sunday. I don't know if I have a name for it yet. Okay. So let's do this. Let's talk about what's going on in God and Gig. So some of you know that we have a sale going on, and I am going to just be very honest. Like this is really like only 5 hours away. So you might want to jump in on this. Precious already knows about this because Precious is actually a member of 360. But we have a spring break sale, or spring price break, okay, on God and Gigs 360. So what am I talking about, God and Gigs 360? That's our membership for highly motivated creatives who want to get out of their own way and they want to build creative businesses that will bless God and bless others. And they want to do so by using the power of community, where we don't just connect through Facebook, where we connect through Zooms, we connect on chats, we have our own app, we have our own platform, we have courses, we have membership trainings, we have all kinds of stuff all month long, every month, to help us build the creative lives that God wants us to build. And we do so in our 360 Gold program, which is the highest tier. Okay, the high top tier is 360 Gold. You can also join the other tiers, but you don't really get anything that's like Gold. Gold is like where you always get that interaction all the time. So what you can do is, if you want to join 360 Gold, you can get, for the next 5 hours, 4 hours, you can get 1 month free every quarter. So you pay a quarterly rate, but by paying the quarterly rate, you get 1 month free every 3 months. So in other words, you only pay 3 for the price. You get 3 for the price of 2. So our rate is $47. So you can see, you just do the math. $94 gets you 3 months, not 2 months. 3 months of the rate, okay, for just 2 months of the price. I hope I'm getting my math right. So you want to check that out. I'm going to keep mentioning that because let me see my point the right way. There it is. Is it here? There we go. Boom. All right. Go there before this call is over, or go there before midnight, because at midnight it expires and you do no longer get this deal on our highest level membership of coaching, mentoring, and we call it ACTS, okay? Accountability, community training, and support. That's what you get in God is Gigs 360. I'd really love to see you guys there. Let's see who else is joining us. Okay. All right. Precious has some success stories. Let's see what are success stories. All right. She worked as a production assistant on 2 cruises, hosted an event recently, got more people interested in booking, and you've written 10 songs. Come on now. Look at that. That's a success Sunday. Okay. We need I don't have an air horn. I don't know if we need an air horn. I don't know if we need we need something like that. Deserves something. We need like some bells and whistles to pop out, some confetti. That's awesome, Precious. I am so I just feel like this kind of godly pride when I see my fellow creatives that are doing something amazing. Working as a production since the 2 cruises, going out there getting your cruise on. That's awesome, and enjoying that. You got this event going on. You're booking people, and now you're co-writing and working on songs. Now, I did see one of your lives. I caught one of your lives where you were co-writing for you had 2 other ladies in the room. And I did see you getting into your thing. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. See, someone's going to see this either now or in the replay. and they are going to be. Oh, you saw your sister was here. Okay, wow, this is a family affair. All right, I'm going to keep going because I got more announcements. But all right, so I mentioned the 360 sale. Okay, that's till midnight. You got to jump in before midnight. Okay, two. I want you all before this call is over to go follow or subscribe to the Matt Tommy podcast, which is called The Thriving Christian Artist. Okay. I need to put that in the chat as well. All right. Because if you look this up, look up this particular podcast. Okay. So look up The Thriving Christian Artist. And here's why. Because in the next maybe a month or so, I'm not sure when it will come out, but it will come out pretty soon. And I'd rather you guys be following. I was so blessed to be interviewed by Matt Tommy on The Thriving Christian Artist. Now, let me tell you why that's a big deal and why it matters to this particular community. Okay. The reason why it matters to this community is because Matt Tommy is one of the leading Christian artists, teachers, mentors in really the world, but United States definitely. He has books all over the place on how to work with the Holy Spirit, how to do art with the Holy Spirit. He's a musician, but he's also he's a musician and a worship leader who became a sculptor of baskets and artwork and like sculpture, things like that, baskets and other like medium that you can actually touch and feel. So he's a visual artist that creates, and he's now and a painter, and he now leads thousands of artists into how to create, how to make a living, how to make money, and how to do so in a Christian worldview. And he is super deep. He's super amazing. And again, we were on his show just about, I think we recorded maybe 2 months ago. So at some point, you're going to see this lovely face or hear this lovely voice on The Thriving Christian Artist. So I want you guys to support this podcast before it comes out, because that way, if you are subscribing now, when our episode comes out, you'll already be subscribed. And number two, I co-sign everything this man talks about. Matt Tommy is absolutely a Holy Spirit-led, brilliant marketer and a consummate, absolutely dedicated creative. So he's everything God and Gigs is, but on like a higher level because he's been doing it longer, and he has so many, like a fountain of wisdom when it comes to both making a living and making art with God. So please go follow The Thriving Christian Artist. You got two kind of assignments now. Okay, your first assignment is to give me some success stories. Your second assignment is to go follow The Thriving Christian Artist. And then number three is probably going to be go ahead and check out godandgigs.com/spring so you can get in on that spring break deal. Gold members, by the way, if you are a gold member but you are a monthly member, you can go ahead and use that too. But that's just for 360 folks that already know what I'm talking about. You can upgrade. Okay. Now, so that is my second announcement, big announcement, that we're going to be on the Thriving Christian podcast, and that you really, 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 really should subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe. Don't wait. Go check that out. It's by Matt Tommy. That's with a E-Y, not a Matt Tommy like just T-O-M-M-Y. T-O-M-M-E-Y, so you can find it there, okay? That's how you find that. All right. So we got that announcement out. We talked about the God and Gigs 360 spring break. Now, there's some other questions that have come up that I wanted to address and make sure that we kind of talk about it in the context of our creative community. And if you have a question while you are watching this impromptu creative checkup, feel free to ask. This is your chance. And even if you are watching on replay and then you watch later and you're like, oh my gosh, I wanted to ask that question, and you didn't think about it, go ahead and ask that question in the comments and I will come back and we'll definitely answer it. Okay. So another question that has come up recently from someone else that was also in our program, one of our beta members, very, very excited to have her, see her come back up. I'll mention her in a second. I'll make sure she's cool with us sharing, but I want to share the question before I share her name and make sure it was okay. She said that she was getting very close to achieving some of the goals she had for her life in terms of creative life. She recently became a mom. She's got a lot of cool things going on in her life, and she's getting into like the creative space in terms of dance and modeling. And she said she's starting to get a little scared of success. That now that she's achieving the things that she wants to achieve in her creative life, she's asking like, why am I nervous? Why am I scared of actually achieving the things that I said I was going to achieve? And I honestly, I felt bad for her. Not bad like a pity, but bad because I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like when success starts to show up and you're like, you're so used to the struggle bus that you don't know how to drive the success, whatever, convertible, whatever car you want to call it. But you've been on the struggle bus for so long that it really feels like cheating when things start to go right. Like you're like, what the heck is going on? I don't know what this feels like. I don't know how to navigate. And I start to shy away from the very things that I know I actually prayed for and wanted to happen just because there's this huge like feeling of a shift going on. Does anybody else know what I'm talking about when you like feel scared of the that feeling, still feel it? Thank you, Precious, for sharing that. Yeah. So I'll tell you because I didn't repost it because it was a private conversation. But like I said, once if she gives me permission, I will share, and let her know that we're talking about her. But what I shared with her was I told her that just like you have to kind of move by faith and not by feelings when it comes to negative things, you also have to move by faith and not by feelings when it comes to positive things. In other words, there's this assumption that when I just start to be successful, I'm going to feel successful. When as Precious is saying, and some other people are saying, it's actually the opposite. The more successful you feel, the more successful you are, the less successful you feel, which is weird because you do all this work thinking when you get to this moment that you're just going to have this amazing like release of relief and joy and pride and purpose. And so when you start to see the things happen and the feeling does not accompany the success you said, there can be a huge letdown. And you're saying to yourself, well, what was I doing? Like, okay, so maybe it's problems that come along with that, whatever it is. And so what I told her and what I'm telling you guys as you're watching this either live or replay, to divorce yourself from the need to feel successful. You don't have to feel it for it to be true. It just has to be happening. And success, the Bible talks about this, that it's not the accolades, it's not the prize, it's not the pat on the back, it's not the validation, okay? Jesus said, my meat, what fulfills me is to do the will that him that sent me and to finish the work. So finishing what you said you're out to finish and just getting the things done and seeing the results come through and almost being dispassionate about, okay, well, that happened. Well, yeah, it happened because it's supposed to happen. And you're not wrapped up in either it not happening. I think that's the definition of contentment, right? I learned in all things, Paul says, to be content, to both to abound and to suffer need. He doesn't say Philippians 4:13 about I can do all things through Christ until he says I know how to abound and I know how to suffer need. So to get slightly preachy, this has nothing to do with you being able to do the stuff. It's being able to handle what comes with doing the stuff. Okay? So you do the stuff and things happen. You either abound or you suffer need. And then Bible says, Paul says, I can do all these things and deal with the results of them through Christ. Because the results of what he was doing was either going to cause him to have issues or they're going to cause him to have like a triumph. He was either going to get some blessing or he's going to get a burden from the thing, but he keeps doing the thing. Okay, so you keep doing the thing that keeps giving you success, whether or not it feels like you're successful, because your contentment is not in whether or not you feel like it's so amazing and you get so addicted to the feeling and success, and then that's kind of what drives you away. What I think I'm talking to, or I'm thinking I'm talking to the creatives who are exactly the opposite. Those of us who feel unworthiness and we feel like, oh well, I'm not deserving. And my fear is that I would say to you, start, yeah, you deserve it. Yes, you should feel worthy. Pump yourself up, feel worthy. And I don't think telling yourself you're worthy makes you feel worthy. I think knowing that you are worthy, whether you like it or not, is the answer. I'm worthy not because I want to be worthy, because I feel worthy, because God has decided I am therefore worthy, and I am really don't have any say in the matter. So since I don't have any say in the matter, I don't need to get wrapped up in the feeling of whether or not God is doing what he's doing, and my success, or my creative success, or my Grammys, or my awards, or my clients, or my success, because it's not up to me anyway. So because it's not up to me anyway, I don't have to get wrapped up in that. Okay, I kind of got a little soapbox there, but I feel like hopefully that answers that question about what do you do when you don't feel success, when you don't feel like you're successful, even though you're seeing things happen that are bringing success. Okay, I hope that answers that question. Again, I'm going to talk to this young lady. She'll see this hopefully, and I'll repost it, and I'll let her know that her question was what prompted my answer, and hopefully I answered it the same way that I answered her in the DMs, so that I can kind of give you guys some context and also be true to what we were talking about even in that conversation. But I thought she wasn't the only one. I figured I would share it here because I figured she was not the only one. All right. So if there are no more questions, if there are questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat, and then they can be about spiritual things, about creative life, about actually specific things when it comes to marketing, whether it be email. I am really, 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 really excited about what's happening in my email service called Convertkit. If you guys don't have Convertkit, I think Precious, I think some of you other guys have signed up. Do I have that? Yes, I have that here. They are doing some amazing things. This goes to marketing. I'm kind of like switching gears here. ConvertKit is making some strides, you guys. If you have not created an email list, please go get a free account with ConvertKit, because they have some incredibly easy things to do to help you build your email list. I might do a screen share. Do y'all mind? Because let's see. I hope I don't mess this up. But when you see what's available here, maybe this will convince some of you guys that are still like, oh, no, I don't want to do email. That's so 2015. No, email is still where you make your money. Let me just show you some of these templates. Let's see if I can show you some of these templates without messing up and showing you stuff, I want to all in my page only because it's boring, not because I'm scared of you seeing it. Can I see these templates? Yes. All right. So I'm going to share a screen in a second. See if I can get to the tab that I want to see. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. So you see where it says, this is inside ConvertKit, by the way. This just turned into a training. Like I just immediately turned into a training because I got so excited when I saw this. This is the kind of stuff I just wish like I could do like all the time and just geek out. But I'm going to give you like a quick overview of this because we're just kind of like doing like a overarching discussion of all kind of things creative. Okay. So if you are interested in trying to start to reach your fans and your audience through email, what you basically have to do is you create what's called a sequence. A sequence is just a sequence of emails, literally that, a sequence of emails. And what you do is you basically set up, okay, you email this first, this second, this third, this fourth, tell them this, tell them that, and you just write your emails and then it's sent out. Now, those of you who are not familiar with email, this is not from Gmail. This is why you sign up for ConvertKit, and ConvertKit then hopefully you can get your own domain name, or it can still come from ConvertKit, but you really should use a domain name like, yoursite.com, at yoursite.com, owner at yoursite.com. But this is why I wanted to get into this. All right, so let me go over here. So do you see these templates over here? These are all made for you, a template. So let's go down for the music people. Let's say you want to pitch your new song, pitch your album with a free song. They have a template on the emails that you would use to pitch your album. Okay. You see over here, welcome subscribers to your newsletter. You're starting a newsletter, you're starting with something. Okay. I'm looking at musicians here, but this is for everybody. Pitch your book, authors. If you want to, I mean, how much easier is this? This is like, use this template, and here's the sequence. Here's how you start pitching your book to your email subscribers. So launch a fan page. I'm going backwards here. Release a new book, release a new podcast, share your social media content. Use this template to introduce your social media channels like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. I mean, come on. Like, I wish I had this stuff. This is insane. Promote your other products, promote your album, raise money to record an album, pitch a paid podcast with a free episode. I mean, this is like every possible thing you could want to do. Let's just pick one. Hold on. I want to go in real quick. This is literally like me just let's never seen this before. I'm literally going to find out what this looks like. Let's look at the reason money to record an album. So I'm going to click on a template. So in other words, this is a where you would start to edit it yourself. And here's where, okay, so this is a particular thing where you get tagged. They call this a tag. So you get tagged or you do something. Then you have an email here for requesting donations. Then they buy the donation, right? And then content for sponsors. Now, each one of these things, if you click on this, it says email sequence. So I click on this, and here's 2 emails already written for you to tell you how to ask people to donate, so that when you add them to this particular, what we call automation, the emails are right there. And even the day after, 1 day, email this. After 5 days, email this. I mean, come on. This makes it so ridiculously easy to set up email sequences and have like your entire email thing, email campaign prepared. Like, if that does not, yeah, Precious, that is amazing. Is it like, thank you for watching. Cause you look, I know there's some other people going to watch this later and they're going to be like, what? I didn't know about this. I've been talking about Convertkit for a long time, but they are like, they are going nuts with this. Like that feature is worth more than, like, that's worth, oh, I can't even name how much that is worth. To just have the email templates to the thing you want to do and just click a button and you put the people in there. Now, of course, we can talk about how you get the people in there, right? That's the part where we talk about, okay, well, how do you, but they have a lot of resources of this. Guys, I do get commission from Convertkit, but you get so much more. I am an affiliate of Convertkit because I've been using it for like, golly, how long? I don't even know. I just took that left turn into Convertkit because, I mean, there is so much value there for you as a creative, and they are literally trying to, oh, okay. Can I do a little more deeper? Okay, this was not supposed to be a discussion on Convertkit. Did not plan this, but I am literally like, let's do one more thing. Y'all, tip jars. You say you want to earn money? Because that's one of the big things that I've heard a lot from our creators, that they want to earn money. So I'm going to show you. Convertkit. Now, I know there's PayPal. I know there's Patreon and all these other things, right? The fact that you can do all this inside of Convertkit, like, makes it very, like, if you have to, yes, you can set up other things. But if you can set up everything at once in one place, so if I can just click a button and I can make a tip jar and call it something, Alan's tip jar, and this is digital, of course. I'm just going to give you guys like a quick overview here. It gives me a custom page. I can always make this shorter later. And like within 2 or 3 clicks, I can make myself a tip jar. 5, 10, 15, 20. We're just going to leave it like this for now. I'm going to leave all the Latin stuff there. I could do all that. I could change it up. But I just want you to see how quickly I can have a link, copy. And of course, you set up your bank information later. Oh, and then I gotta save it first. Let's go back. Hold up. Let's make sure I saved it, or maybe because I didn't actually add anything to it. That might be why it didn't show up yet. I check out business $5. Let me save it. Now let's see if I can do this. Not there yet. I gotta add something. I gotta actually put some stuff. I'm trying to do it too fast. I've literally not added anything to this. I was hoping I could get the short without any like stuff at all. But you can see I have 5, 10, 15, $50. You can have another amount where they can fill in their own amount. Do the checkout, the confirmation, all that's already done for you. And yeah, I just think what I need to do is just actually go in there and actually create the thing because I haven't really created anything yet. So that's how you do a tip jar, you guys. That is as easy as possible. You know what I might do here? Let's see if I can. Oh, you can even get a name for it. You can call it Buy Me a Coffee. So you can actually call it something. And then you can make the link and share it someplace. So that's just a quick review of like just what's going on in Convertkit. So I told you I'm going to show you what's going on in my life and in our creative community. I shared a lot in just 30 minutes. So I'm going to go back real quick and just review to make sure I didn't forget anything, okay? So number one, before midnight, let's get out of that. Before midnight, you need to if you want to get into the spring price break, you want to do that immediately because time is running out. And if you're watching this on any of our platforms, you're running out of time. So before midnight, 11:59 Eastern, you have to go if you want to get 3 months for the price of 2 every 3 months, which means 4 months free every year. Which also, again, if you have to upgrade, if you'd like to upgrade, if you've been a free user of God and Gex 360 because you joined one of our small programs, which you'd like to amp it up, then go ahead and go to God and Gex 360 now. This is the cheapest it's ever going to be in terms of quarterly prices. Quarterly prices does not happen like this every every week. We don't do it at spring. And then by the next spring, prices might be higher, which means this is the only time you can get this kind of rate on the quarterly, okay? So number two, make sure you check out the Thriving Christian Artist. Remember, the Thriving Christian Artist, we're going to be on that show very soon, and I want you to go start checking out Matt Tommy, check out all his stuff on how to market, how to brand, how to create with the Holy Spirit, prophetic art. He is just a deep brother in the Lord and absolutely knows his stuff. And I am just really coming up under him to really learn from him. And so I want you to share that with other people, the Thriving Christian Artists, especially if they're visual artists, musicians, dancers, doesn't matter what. But definitely he has a heart for visual artists. That's where he finds himself right now. So he's doing even a retreat for visual artists. Okay, so that's number two. And then last but not least, as I mentioned, make sure you go, wait, where did it go? I gotta go find it. Make sure you check out God and Gives Convertkit because what they are doing right now with their new templates, this is new that I've seen that. The tip jar, the templates, some of it's been out a little bit, but those templates, you guys, that is like that's going to save you so much time. And by the way, again, if you need help with how to set up email, they have tons of classes. We do a class inside God and Gex 360 on how to set up your email. So you might want to just go ahead and get in God and Gex 360. That's probably the fastest way to do it. And then we'll help with Convertkit all the time, which is why, again, you need to get into the spring sale so that you can get that 3 months for 2 every 3 months. So you can get that savings. We'll give you a price break because we want you to be make the on-ramp easier for you to get into this thing, okay? Now, I have said a lot. I've talked a lot. We've done a lot of different things. I looked at the chat for a couple more minutes, but if not, I will go ahead and sign off. I just got home from this trip, and like I said, I'm kind of like out of it, but I want to make sure as I yawn, excuse me. See, look at that. Look what y'all made me do. If you have any questions at all, again, any concerns in the creative community, Facebook, YouTube, even our Twitter followers, thank you for following if you're checking this out. I've never done Twitter before, but I said, you know what, why not? Let's see what happens, okay? So maybe we have some Twitter followers who watched. That's awesome. Welcome. Thank you so much for following us on Twitter, where we don't post as much, but we're definitely we're there. Instagram, of course, and all socials, godandgigs.com. Okay. So if there's no questions I can see, we will go ahead and start to jump off. But make sure you follow us, as I mentioned, and make sure you continue to become the creative you're created to be. So the three things: God and Gigs price break. That's our number one. Please go check that out. Okay, godandgigs.com/spring price break. Sorry, godandgigs.com/spring. You don't have to put the rest. I made it really simple. Spring. Okay, so go check that out. This deal expires at 11:59, which is only at this point 49 minutes and 3 hours, 4 hours. Can't do math again. Yeah, about 50 minutes. Okay, so that's like, yeah, that's 3 hours, 50 minutes. Yeah, 3 hours and 50 minutes to get a part of this deal where you get training, support, accountability, energy, just incredible inspiration all the time from your fellow creatives. Okay, I want you to do that. Absolutely. Okay, so let's see. Anybody else here? Blessings to you, Precious. Appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Thank you, everybody else who's watching on the replay. I know, again, I jumped in pretty without giving you like any didn't give you guys any like warning. Gave you like 30 minutes warning. But I just felt like this was a good time for me to share. Wanted to make sure you heard about the spring break price if you hadn't already, and gives you guys some list updates on what's going on. It's such a joy to be a part of this community, hearing more and more stories all the time, people who are loving the podcast. Oh, please go rate the podcast, by the way. Didn't mention that. If you haven't listened to the podcast lately, we're on episode 158. Episode 157 was with Nettie, amazing artist. And then we had all the ladies of the Women's History Month. I didn't mean for it to happen. We interview ladies all the time. We don't have to follow a month. But just so happens that it fell where perfectly 3 women were being interviewed. Jordan will be this weekend, this Thursday. So 3 ladies who shared during Women's History Month. It's perfect timing. So go check out episode 156, 157, 158, and then 159 comes out this Thursday. And that will be with Kelly and Jordan, actor, writer, amazing soul, amazing creative, amazing Christian. She's going to share some stuff about how she's followed the journey of God's leading and through her creative life, even when things didn't make sense, and like moving cross country in the middle of a pandemic, which she did. So there's a lot that's going to be coming up in the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks. But that's all I have for now. God has blessed you. Thank you so much for following us. Thank you so much for being a part of our community. It is a blessing to be a part of this house and this kind of like just creative space where we are helping each other build a better creative life from the inside out. If you ever have any questions, make sure you email me, hit me up on Facebook, hit me up everywhere. I will always respond because I want to help you become that creative that you were created to be. Yep. That's it. Let's go ahead and sign off before I start jumping into something else. There's lots here for you guys to just watch some replay. Go ahead and rewind it. Check out some of those little tips I gave. Maybe that'll help you someplace. I think we covered a lot here. It won't always be this rambly, but we haven't done it in months. So I just went ahead and jumped in, and it is what it is. And yeah, shout out to Melton Mustafa Jazz Festival just passed by. But there it is. Yep. Love Melton Mustafa Jr., Melton Mustafa Sr., God rest his soul. And I just wanted to kind of rep them as well. You can guys read more about that. He's a friend of God and Gigs. And you can kind of see, even when you start to see the connections there, you'll see how we're so much more than just people say, oh, it's a ministry. No, it's really more than that. Even though ministry can be the top priority, it's not the way we like think about it. It's more of connection. It's more about making creators the best they could be in community. And if that's ministry, that's great, but it's not, we don't limit it to that at all. It's really just about making the world a better place through our creative gifts that God gave us. All right, guys, I'm going to stop rambling on. God bless you all. Thank you so much, Precious, and everybody else that was able to come in. Nikki, thank you for dropping in. And London, who dropped in. If you watched the replay, let us know you came back in, okay? Because now you get a chance to kind of like see everything and hit us back up. And you guys, Precious, and you can reconnect. All right. God bless. Thank you, guys. All right, that's it. There is no more. Talk to you later, and